Very warm welcome to Deb Barnett, who will do our president's role. Deb is our Area 28 director, and she is VPE for 2 different clubs. We have Carolyn Becker. Where have I got? Heather Bruce first. Heather Bruce is our Vice President Education. She'll be talking about that. And Heather is a Northern Territories Division Director and a coach for all of our area directors in District 69. We have Carolyn Becker, who is going to do Vice President of Public Relations and Membership. Carolyn is Western Division, so this is a great opportunity for us to all meet and share. We have Jim Fazel, Eastern Division. He is going to do the secretary role for us today. We have Tanya Rooney, Area 26 Director and Eastern Division. She will do the Treasurer's role today. And we have Maria Battazzoni to lead us through the Sergeant at Arms role. And she is a support person for all area directors. She is a TLI coordinator for Brisbane Division. She is a speechcraft guru. She's a member of Chermside Communicators. And I believe she's Denise Buckley's right-hand person there. And Denise Buckley is our Brisbane Division Director. So I welcome you all today. We will go in order of presentations. The rest of us will mute and we'll save our questions for the end of, we have the 6 speakers today. So I'm going to introduce Deb Barnett first as the President's role, and I'll ask everyone else to mute, please, and be mindful of. And Jim wants 5 minutes, or?
Can I double clarify how long each presenter would like?
We gave everyone 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, is that still good?
If we could have a green light at 8, and then everyone can go from there.
Yeah. Just to show everyone very quickly.
Yes.
Green at 8,
wonderful.
Yellow at 9, and a red at 10.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, so I will now hand over to Deb Barnett for her presentation on being a president for Toastmasters and all other roles. Thank you, Deb Barnett.
Thank you, Judith, and welcome Toastmasters and guests. And thank you, Judith, for allowing me to share my experiences as a club president, which is something that I really enjoyed. But my Toastmasters journey actually goes back to 2014 when I said, yes, I'll come and speak at your event. But the event was a state school conference for science lab technicians. And I'd been asked to sit on a federally funded science education advisory as an expert in school laboratory practices and safety. So it was a fantastic experience as I really enjoy writing and publishing technical information. But to promote this new advisory team's activities, we needed to go to conferences and meetings and workshop and talk about what we were doing. There's not much government funding that comes to entities that are silent, basically. But I realised that I hadn't done any public speaking since 1974. 1974 to 2014 is 40 years. That's when reality hit. My options, number 1, go and get some public speaking lessons at $300 a pop. Number 2, go to Toastmasters. Not nearly as expensive as that, and with ongoing benefits. But I had no plans to stay in Toastmasters long, no plans to take on this leadership business, and certainly no plans or time for extracurricular Toastmasters activities. I just needed to be able to present informational speech at conferences sounding confident and convincing. I still had my full-time substantive job, as well as the advisory position, and now Toastmasters as well. So time was never on my side. Let's go forward 4 fast years. Wow, what an honour to be elected as president of Toastmasters in Maryborough Club for 2018-19. I had no idea what I was doing, but the outcome was very positive for my club, and I felt good about what I had achieved. My first piece of advice is to attend club officer training, because when you get there, you realise that nobody else knows what they're doing either. But I'll start with the lessons learned. 6 days after taking office of president, my mum sadly passed. She lived in southern New South Wales. And before that, I had scheduled the first executive meeting, but come meeting day, I was still interstate. No one on my newly formed executive was able to take over, especially the immediate past president, as she was having similar family issues at the time. So that first meeting got cancelled. The planning meeting, the set up the game plan meeting, the let's get some momentum, the one that I thought really mattered. But I thought I'd mention this as it determined the direction of the rest of the committee for the rest of the year. Because that first meeting was cancelled, I felt that most of the executive were happy to have meetings when we needed, not because they were rigidly scheduled. Now, there's nothing on an executive agenda, nothing to discuss. Why have a meeting? We saw each other every fortnight at club meetings. We communicated regularly. And if something came up that needed to be discussed at executive level, then we'd have a meeting. We followed Toastmaster processes. The requirement was still met and the sky didn't fall in. But my discovery was to step away from a rigid meeting schedule. Well, anything rigid. It was the right thing to do, as my people just weren't able to fully commit at that particular time. But I'm used to structure and order in my life, but I really learnt to be more flexible. Of course, we've got email. I sent them information on there and they could read it when they needed it. And it worked for that team at that time. I learnt that I can be completely, competently and confidently present a president's welcome and close at every meeting without much planning or rehearsal. I learnt that I can run a business meeting. It wasn't smooth initially. The sky didn't fall in. I had a go and we got there with patience. I learnt that I can write and execute a club success plan. Knowledge I used again as VPE the next year and as Area 28 Director this year. Both roles I've enjoyed immensely. The wins for the club that year, well, we found valuable input from my executive team on television marketing we were doing for Channel 7 Wide Bay. And the cost was shared between Area 28 clubs and our neighbours over in Area 10. One of the members had previously worked in marketing and thought it was a great chance to raise the profile of our local Toastmasters clubs. Maryborough Club also participated in the 4650 extravaganza, followed by our very successful speechcraft program, both at Maryborough Town Hall. Now, these events were wonderful community strategies for the club and Toastmasters. And as a result, my club grew to a charter strength of 20 members by June 30 that year. But with wins, there's often losses. Sadly, our VPE lost her beloved brother, so I took over that role for the last few months. And yes, we were a team. The agendas got a bit repetitive, but the sky didn't fall in. We also lost Pat Pitt. Pat had given so much motivation and direction to the club over the years. To lose her was like losing our guiding light. The outcomes during my year, I just wanted to continue a recently refreshed club culture. We had brought in a new professionalism to our club meetings. Our speechcraft program was revitalised, and I made sure that the Toastmasters basics that Pat supported were done right. There was a lot of emotional upheaval for our members that year. So maintaining those structures and processes proved to be a stabilising factor. Members felt that club meetings calmed their chaos at that time. So by June 30, the club had enough DCP points to be awarded President Select that year for the first time in 9 years. We had 20 members, we had achieved 10 goals. Most of our education awards were from Pathways, which showed that members were transitioning nicely onto that new platform. These results showed that we were a cohesive club and maintained the basic principles of Toastmasters. But the best piece of advice I received from the immediate past president was to make sure you know what's going on in the club, the who and the what of what's going on. Pretty good advice, as it's not the president's role to run the club. All members have a part to play, along with the individual executive who put their hand up to run their cog in that wheel. Empowering others resulted in a smooth running team. About that lesson learned earlier, if you're an incoming president, can I suggest that you plan your first meeting before the new Toastmasters year? Talk to the current president as soon as you're elected, engage if they think you are standing on their toes. But get your new team together and get that traction on club success planning, speechcraft, and all those events for the next year. You can set a positive and vibrant tone for you. So if you get your team together early, you can set this vibrant tone and get going by the 1st of July with a big, strong purpose. As club president, I believe the role is about making things happen. To implement the how, Maryborough Club engaged in very positive community events, ran a hugely successful speechcraft program and received the President's Select Award. I learnt not to stress about the things I can't control. As presidents, we need to think with our head and our heart. I learnt a lot of things, and knowledge is never wasted. Most of all, the sky didn't fall in. Madam Facilitator.
Well done. Thank you very much, Deb. What a great insight into being a president and a leader in our wonderful organisation of Toastmasters.